So are you also sensitized by anger, grief, or sadness? Like, how are you coping with the feelings in addition to having such a good cognitive perspective?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a mix of things, right? Like sometimes I just have to sit with the feeling, and I know that that's just what I need to do in that moment. Like some nights are kind of hard, but other times it can be like maybe there's something to do that I can do with my time that, like I said, might bring me some energy or joy. So I think it's just experimenting a little bit.
Yeah, and it seems like accepting what you're feeling on the nights that are hard and then mobilizing on the nights that you have more energy sounds like that's really helping you. How are you staying hopeful?
Well, I think one thing that's helped me is just I've handled it more in ways that I didn't think I could before. Like if you'd asked me this happening during pandemic, during fires, during all this other stuff, I probably wouldn't have thought I'd have handled it as well as I did. So that brings me hope. Like there's all these new ways to handle problems.
So
Um,
just to reinforce that, basically you're getting your experiential confidence is giving you hope that rather than the more problems there are between COVID and the fires and the breakup, then that's just like the fact that you can handle all of those things and handle them effectively is actually giving you more hope about how you handle things in the future rather than making you feel just completely overwhelmed by how many things are um, going poorly right now.
right. Yes, definitely.
Happy to hear that. Were you going to say something else?
I think the only other thing I'd add is I shifted from outcome based thinking because I just, like, if anything, this is proven that I just really cannot control outcomes. But process I can. And so I've really, really tried to just shift as much as I can to that.
And can you be more specific?
Yeah. So there's different things I can do to help myself out to move forward and move towards the directions of things I want. Like connection with other people is still really important to me. So what are different ways that I can still do that? And I can't control like to the degree that I'm going to connect with somebody else, but I can at least try to connect with other people.
Hmm. And then to kind of give yourself credit for the effort.
Right.
Is that something that shifted for you? Would you have given yourself credit for effort in the past?
No, I think it was very, very focused on outcome. I think there were several times I can remember where I would go out and do something that I thought was fun, but because I didn't get like this hit it out of the ballpark outcome, then I feel bad about myself that day, even though I did something that was within my values and I enjoyed.
Can you be more specific?
Sure. So I like to go dancing, and sometimes I would go dancing, and it would be fun. I'd interact with different people, but none of those people would stick around. Like I wouldn't get to know them on a deeper level. And if I was just looking at it objectively, like that was a good night. Like I get to interact with some people, it was fun. But because I didn't have like this magical connection with somebody that lasted 5 years, then it was like viewed as disappointing. I think that's the shift.
Hmm. The shift is now the process of going dancing in and of itself is worth it,
Right.
regardless of its outcome.
Yes.
Was there perfectionism that was holding you back or keeping you outcome driven, or what narrative do you think kept you outcome driven?
Yeah. Perfection, absolutely. I, though I still have those thoughts sometimes of, well, this isn't going so well, so I should just give up. Or why am I putting so much energy into this thing? But I don't act on that anymore. So it's just those thoughts might be there, but I'm still going to draw. I'm still going to do whatever I'm doing that day.
Yes, that is also a really great example of how have you come to allow those thoughts to be there. I know a lot of people with anxiety and OCD are kind of waiting for certain thoughts to no longer show up in their mind. So how have you reconciled that you can just because the thought is there doesn't mean you have to it like means anything about you.
I think on just the bigger picture, I've had to like really humble myself and understand that some of the core beliefs that I believed were hurting me and like causing a lot more suffering. So I had to just start to let go of some of those core beliefs. And the more I did so, the more I was able to access healthier ways to interact with things. And one thing I saw recently was this documentary on a soccer team. They were talking about their coach and how he would tell them, "Oh, if you do this thing, we'll be successful." And like they were really surprised because they would do it, and then yeah, they'd be successful in the end. So I know you've talked about the coaching aspect too, and I kind of view you as a coach. Like you kind of laid out compassion in different steps, and I've done those things, and they have led to results that I didn't think were possible. So I think that's kind of been my process of shifting.
Thank you so much for sharing that.